Good evening, everybody. This is Kathy here from the Access Office in DCU. You're very welcome to join me here this evening as we learn a little bit more about the Higher Education Access Route, which is a national access scheme for young people coming from socioeconomically disadvantaged backgrounds here in Ireland. So, what will I cover today? I will mainly be focusing on the Higher Education Access Route because you've already heard from Anne on the DARE scheme. And I will also talk a little bit about what supports you can expect in college if you enter the university as an access student into DCU. So what is HERE? HERE is an admissions route for school leavers who for social, financial or cultural reasons are underrepresented in third level education. It was set up to ensure that all Leaving Certificate students have a fair and equal opportunity to progress to third level education. And I would emphasise that the fair and equal opportunity is a very key part of this scheme. So just a little bit about DCU itself. So our mission is to transform lives and societies. We're Times Higher Education 6th university worldwide for its contribution to reducing inequalities, which is exactly what we're talking about here today. And we focus on a university for all, for everybody and every type of students. Just to give you a little bit of the size of the scale of the HERE scheme here in DCU. 1 in 5 students admitted to DCU third level through the HERE route nationally study in DCU. So that is 2024 figures. How do we achieve those kind of figures? Up to 10% of all places allocated on every degree program in DCU are allocated to HERE students. So 10% of places on every course is ring fenced. So to give you an example, if the intake into a course is 200 students, then 20% of those places are ring fenced for HERE students. In addition to the HERE scheme, we also allocate up to 10% of places to our QQI and FE applicants, and a further 5% are allocated to students with a disability. So I suppose why do you need to apply to the HERE scheme? I suppose one of the key parts that most people probably be most familiar with is we can offer reduced points. And we operate, it's like a mini CAO within the CAO scheme, in that we will, if the points are 400 and I have 10 places, we will allocate the first student on the nearest of 400 points, which is 399, working down to fill our quota of 10 places within a reasonable level. We also make sure that when you come in that there is other post-entry supports here. So you can have financial support. So we give a bursary of financial support, academic support. Sometimes, if you've come in with reduced point entry, you may have a little catching up to do in certain modules. We're talking probably maths, some of the science modules, but believe me, students are well able to do that. We offer also social and personal support to make sure that you're going to thrive with us here in DCU. Again, give you a little bit more information on the reduced points in DCU. As I said, 10% of places are reserved for HERE, and Anne will have already mentioned that 5% are reserved for DARE. You must meet the programme entry requirements. What that means is if, for example, you want to do primary school teaching and the requirement is a H4 in Irish, you must achieve that H4. We cannot reduce that minimum entry requirement. We can only reduce the actual overall points. And the points reduction is really depending on the overall number of places on the course, the number of reserved HERE places on the course, and the number of eligible students applying for those places. So I can't give you a definite figure here today to say how many points we reduce, but probably our maximum is really within about 70, 75 points. But again, that is within the quota of how many students are competing for it and how many are looking for places. So given a little bit more information on the HERE supports within DCU. So as I mentioned, we give you you can access the Student Assistance Fund, there's scholarships, budget advice, additional tuition, advocacy, paid internships, mentoring, career guidance, and personal supports, a designated support officer, a referral point, and the peer support officer. And then we talk about the supports that are available to all. And just to say, Susie is not not the Susie. Here is not the Susie grant. You must apply to Susie also. So who can apply for here? All students, Leaving Cert students in 2025 who meet the criteria, including students considering a post-leaving certificate course in 2025-26. If you're deemed eligible for here in 2025 and decide you're going to take a PLC or a QQI 5 route, you can hold your eligibility forward for 1 year, and we will then consider you for an offer in 2026. So the key points is what you really want to know is, how am I eligible for this? I suppose number one, and what you must meet, is that you must meet the household income, which in 2023, it's based on 2023 income. So it's the overall household income for the adults within that household is 46,790. That income is increased for every dependent child who is in third level education. We also then look at other aspects like, do you or your family have a medical card, a GP visit card? Did your parents' guardians receive a means tested social welfare payment for at least 26 weeks in 2023? Is your parents' guardians' employment status underrepresented in third level education? So when we talk about underrepresented in higher education and your employment status, I suppose what we really are talking about for low skilled and semi-manual things. So we're really people who may be working in factories, retail, so probably really low skills and therefore low earning power. Have you attended a designated disadvantaged school for the last 5 years? If you're unsure if your school is designated disadvantaged, you can just go onto the Department of Education website and they will list all the schools who are qualifying. And do you live in an area of concentrated disadvantage? If you want to check that out, you can go to a website called pobal.ie, POBAL.ie, and that indicates the areas in the country which will meet this criteria. And if you're unsure about income or any of those, please talk to your parent or guardian. And if that's not possible, please talk to someone within your school. Now, to be deemed eligible for here, you must meet the income limit. So as I mentioned, that 46,790 figure, you must meet that. And then you must meet two other indicators. You can see on this diagram how this is calculated. So you must meet number one, which you can see across all four bands there. And you can meet number 1, 2, and any one of 4, 5, and 6. Or 1 and 3, and any one of 4, 5, and 6. Or 1 and 4, and 5 or 6. Or plus 1 and 5 and 6. So there's really quite a number of calculations, but the overall one which you must remember is that income. And what we also are looking at, and you will get extra income allowance, is we look at how many children are there in the family and how many people in your family are in full-time education. So if you are completing that here eligibility form, if you have an older brother, sister, or someone within the family who is within full-time education, you really need to really need to tick and share that information on the board. So how do I apply to here? Well, you need to go onto the CAO website. There is a discounted rate if you apply by the 17th of January. So my advice to anybody here today who has not already started their CAO application is go in and open up that form today. You do not need to complete it. You just need to open it up and pay that fee. And it is a significantly reduced cost. But otherwise, you must start your CAO form by the 1st of February. You must tick on that form that you wish to complete and apply for the HERE scheme. You then have 1 full month to complete the online form. So you must share all the information on that form by the 1st of March 2025. And then you will, at the end of the form, you will be asked to submit some backup documentation. And this is really financial documentation. And you must post that to the CAO in Eglinton Street in Galway by the 15th of March. And it must be post-stamped and marked. And really, it's best to, if you're going to apply, please start gathering that document straight away. There's always a small number of people who lose out because they fail to get the documents in time. The social welfare or the revenue are unable to provide them the documents they need in the short time span that people are looking for it. So please, if you're wishing to apply, start that process and get working on it now. And what are we looking for when we talk about sample supporting documents? So for those who are in employment or self-employment, a statement of liability or a self-assessment letter, Chapter 4 for 2023. If your parent or guardian has an online account through mygov.ie, these documents can now be received online, and they're normally very, very quick in receiving it. Your Chapter 4 letter will mean that someone who is self-employed will need to do an early financial return for the financial year of 2023. A social welfare form or statement for 2023 signed and stamped by social welfare. This is really important. If you go on to the accesscollege.ie website, you can download that form and you complete it. If one of your parents or guardians have been made redundant in 2023, you're required to submit an RP50 notification of redundancy form, and this will indicate any lump sum or redundancy payment that was received. If someone has retired, again, a parent or guardian has retired in 2023, we will need a retirement lump sum letter. And if you are a young person who is in the care of the state or in foster care at the moment, we need a letter from TUSLA confirming that is the case for you. So as you can see, there's quite a number of documents that you may be required to do. So again, going back to my earlier advice, please start that application form. If you can, get a parent, guardian, or another adult to sit with you while you complete that form, just to make sure that you're filling it in completely, and they may also be able to take some notes and assist you. Did you know the most common reason for ineligible applications for HERE in 2024 was because the applicant submitted the wrong revenue document? So mainly people are submitting the document for the wrong year. So even though we are now in 2025 and the most recent financial year was in 2024, we are looking for documents for 2023. And the reason for this is that the application process for this opened up in November 2024. And therefore, people could make an application in 2024 and needed to be able to submit the financial documents were there. So please always remember, we're talking about financial documents for 2023 here. So again, your statement of liability, your self-assessment letter or note of assessment is for 2023. And just for those who want a little bit more information, in DCU, we offer an access DCU entry route called Adder, and that application process will open up in February 2025. And through there, you can apply for subsidised accommodation. If you are eligible for the HERE scheme, you will automatically be eligible for this scheme, but you will have to have made an application. But you are then able to compete for subsidised accommodation, which I think, as you are aware, is a very valuable asset, given this shortage and the expense of accommodation at the moment. So just to have a little look at some of the really important deadlines here. So to reiterate, you must click that application form for the CAO and make your HERE application by the 1st of February 2025. The HERE closing date to have completed the full online form is the 1st of March 2025 at 5 p.m. Supporting document closing the 15th of March 2025. They will accept documents that are postmarked on the 14th or 15th, but anything that's postmarked after the 15th will not be accepted. And really, they don't accept any late excuses. So when will you know if you're eligible? You get an email through your CAO email in late June, just as the Leaving Certificate exam is completed. You get a notification of eligibility, and that will tell you if your application has been successful. If your application has been unsuccessful, you do have the right to ask for a review and appeal, and that opens and closes very early in July. So, unfortunately, if you do wish to appeal it, you will need to action it very, very quickly. HERE offers are made on the same day as your CAO offers in August, and that will be in August 2025. We do not have a final date for that yet. And we offer a college orientation. So we have a pre-orientation for all our lucky HERE successful applicants. And that takes place in late August, early September. And just keep an eye out for our website. We will post those dates fairly soon, but we also will contact you by email. If you have been successful and you get an offer from DCU, then we will contact you by email around that time of your CAO offer just to confirm further details of that. And again, I have mentioned here that you will receive a notification about your HERE or DARE applicant, and again in late June. So just have a little look to see what that looks like. And I suppose thank you very much for listening to me here today. If you want to know more information about anything I've said here today, please, you can phone 01 700 8052, or you can email us at here@dcu.ie or access@dcu.ie. And our main office, as you see there, is CG29 in Glasnevin. And if you want more information on the HERE scheme, please go to www.accesscollege.ie and click on the HERE brochure. And thank you very much, everybody, for listening to me. And if you have any questions or anything, please pop them in the chat there, and I will do my best to answer them now there as soon as I can. Thank you very much, everybody, and best of luck with your Leaving Certificate and your exams.